After the first great snowfall of the season, I like to reward myself with a project. Don't be fooled by the sun. At this time of the year, hypothermia is a real danger. Today's project is for Dominic Bender's challenge tree to build something from a branch no taller than me, no heavier than I can carry. A good survival technique is to scavenge what others have left. Today I find an old rack that has been seasoned for at least a year. You know what they say, one man's old rack is the same man's treasure.
Of course I had to come back and get the camera. What do you think this is, Survivor Man?
Whenever I try survival in a new location, I like to try out a new technique. Today, I turned a curved branch. The lathe rumbled as I pushed the laws of physics to its breaking point. But in the end, the laws of physics prevails.
After I was done turning, I noticed that the pieces were quite wet. They weren't thoroughly dried yet, so instead of letting it dry slowly, I let it dry quickly so that I can get all these cracks to show up. And I'm going to use these cracks as part of the design.
I decided to fill the cracks, but without the proper supply of lignin, I had to resort to what I could find. I mixed epoxy with oil paint. Adapting to your environment is just part of survival. Sometimes the harsh mistress of survival throws you a bone. Like a survival expert not realizing he's been infected with Giardia, I jump at the idea. I apply epoxy onto the bark to preserve it during sanding. Then after 24 hours, it goes back onto the lathe. In our survival situation, a lathe and electricity are luxuries that I can afford to have. Don't be deceived by the sanding process. It is fraught with danger. At third best, you get eye irritation. At worst, use your imagination. Without the 6 chucks, 3 spindles, and an hour of time, I couldn't make holes on the lathe. I had to resort to the antiquated drill. Why do I show you these primitive methods of survival? I guess I'm just a glutton for the antiquities. Flax, first domesticated in the Fertile Crescent, has wide-reaching uses, from clothing to medicine. Today, I'm using the oil of its seed to bring out the beauty of an otherwise heinous piece of timber.
For nunchucks to function properly, the two handle sides need to be balanced. This piece happens to be considerably lighter than the other handle, opposing handle. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a piece of copper. There we go. And that's going to sit inside, and that should sufficiently balance against the other handle.
I can't think of a better finish than shellac. In a survival situation, a chisel is a must. Forget the newfangled hybrid steel. For me, it's carbon steel sharpened to perfection, and it makes quick work of this unsuspecting timber. The techniques learned at one location can be transferred to another. I'm using a method perfected by the Aborigines to hunt for witchetty grubs, except my game is orders of magnitude smaller and stronger. The forgotten tech of braiding dates back to before the time of Moses, turning yielding fibers into unyielding rope. I use a bit of this deadly ancient tech to turn 4 strands of paracord into an integral part of a defensive weapon. Like the ancient Egyptians, I use beeswax to aid my threading of alloyed steel. I take care not to puncture myself with this 3-faceted widowmaker. Out here in the bush, unlike the pampered civilization, septic can set in as it rides the wings of a fell beast. And that'll end your day real quick. I then cauterize the overhanging synthetic polymer, just like the shamans of the past. The last thing I'm going to do is just wrap this area up with some goat skin leather. To finish the braid, I'm using a simple ring knot. a circular form of the ancient three-strand braid. Don't let its beauty lull you into a stupor. It is one of the deadliest knots known to man. We all travel the same journey of life. It's the destination that separates us. Those who spend their lives basking in the empty platitude may wake up one day old and gray, recounting a legacy to their once proud portrait